The hell of the Vietnam War still lingers here in Ho Chi Minh City's Peace Village Hospital. To walk these halls is to enter a Kafkaesque children's tale, where one of the most tragic characters is the stump-like figure of Ju Win Viet. A detached Siamese twin, he lies tied to his bed most of the time, reflexively gargling on his own spit and mercifully unaware of his grim surroundings. These children, Vietnamese officials say, are the legacy of Agent Orange. Plants have grown back and life has resumed in these villages in central Vietnam that 35 years ago were a barren war zone. American forces sprayed 12 million gallons of Agent Orange on this landscape to defoliate the jungle canopy that communist forces used as cover. Today's Vietnam is a very different place. Luxury boutiques line the streets of one of Asia's most dynamic economies. Trade is bringing America and Vietnam together, but the legacy of Agent Orange lingers as one of the most divisive issues between the two countries. Hanoi wants the U.S. to pay compensation to its victims, while Washington has consistently denied a link between birth defects and its use of Agent Orange. But there are now signs that the two countries are beginning to bridge the gap. New cooperation between the U.S. and Vietnam is taking shape here, in these polluted streams next to a former American airbase in Da Nang. It used to be the main staging area for Agent Orange spraying. It's now the city's civilian airport.
I tried to grow rice here, but nothing grows.
Last year, the first ever joint Agent Orange research between the U.S. and Vietnam confirmed what local residents like Jo Thi Em have known for years, that the area around the airport, marked by this wall, is one of the most polluted in Vietnam. Their tests revealed that the levels of dioxin, the toxic byproduct of Agent Orange, are 100 times greater here than they should be.
It is very important to close the past, to close the war between Vietnam and U.S.
Le Khe Son, Vietnam's top government official on Agent Orange, says the test in Da Nang is the beginning of greater cooperation between the former adversaries. This neighborhood near the airport will be the first to benefit from the next phase of cooperation, a $300,000 contribution from the U.S. government for environmental recovery. The Ford Foundation and the UN will also fund cleanup here and in 2 other remaining hotspots.
This contamination should not keep doing this to our children. It must be cleaned up.
The cleanup will come too late for 5-year-old Van and her mother Ju Win Thi Lu. Local medical officials blame fish from the polluted streams near the airport for her daughter's problems. While the U.S. and Vietnam have wrangled over responsibility, thousands of new victims like Van continue to be born in polluted areas. By focusing on cleanup rather than the divisive issue of compensation, many officials and foreign observers here see the beginning of a broader reconciliation. But for many Vietnamese, cleanup is not enough.
If they agree to clean up the environment, it also means that they also accept the consequences of the chemicals. So there is no reason for them to avoid their responsibilities for the Agent Orange victims.
Ju Win says that victims of Agent Orange, like these kids in a newly built clinic run by his association, are hoping that the American project to clean up the environment is just the beginning. And eventually the U.S. will satisfy their long-standing demand and pay compensation.
And it's right for us to struggle, and we would struggle until we win.
Sẽ đấu tranh cho đến khi thắng lợi.